Do you want to be happy? And how much money does it take for you to be happy? One of the most popular answers would be just a little bit more. No matter how much we have or how much we make, we always want to have a little bit more. And I tend to think about myself, I would be so happy if I would have a little bit more, or if I am a little bit more gifted. So do you have anything or any condition you think would make you happy in your life? Today's scripture in Ecclesiastes chapter 5 invites us to shift our perspectives about life, about what true happiness means, especially about our attitude to money. It says it is appropriate for people to eat, drink, and find enjoyment in all their hard work under the sun. So Pastor Chris will help us to go deeper into this text through his message today, Love What You Have, as we close our September sermon series, When Crisis Takes Us Back to School. Let's open our hearts and mind in praise of our God with our band today.
Things are getting real, Jesus take the wheel. Only way I'm getting to the other side. Days are getting dark, life's a little hard. Blinded but I'm trying not to lose sight. I don't got this, I know you got this, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I believe it before I see it, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know you're gonna see me through it. If anybody can, you can do it. Gotta know in the trial and the pain, fire and the rain, you're gonna see me through it. You're gonna see me through it. If anybody can, you can do it. And whenever my hope runs away, you save the day, you're gonna see me through it. When the sky falls, who am I gonna call? The one who put it up there in the first place. Full scale attack, devil on my back. Better lace him up and go put on my game face. I don't got this, I know you got this, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I believe it before I see it, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know you're gonna see me through it. If anybody can, you can do it. Gotta know in the trial and the pain, fire and the rain, you're gonna see me through it. You're gonna see me through it. If anybody can, you can do it. And whenever my hope runs away, you save the day, you're gonna see me through it. Nah, God is bigger than all our problems, the only one who knows how to solve them. So if you're sitting in the back, rock bottom, prayers in the air if you got them. Our God is bigger than all our problems, the only one who knows how to solve them. So if you're sitting in the back, rock bottom, prayers in the air if you got them. I know you're gonna see me through it. If anybody can, you can do it. Gotta know in the trial, in the pain, fire and the rain, you're gonna see me through it. You're gonna see me through it. If anybody can, you can do it. And whenever my hope goes away, you save the day, you're gonna see me through it. Yeah, 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 I know you're gonna see me through it. Creation, there at the start, before the beginning of time. With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of life. As you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. The stars were made to worship so alive. I could see nature and science follow the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you said. If it all reveals a nature so alive, I could see your heart in everything you say. Every painted sky, a canvas of your grace. If creation still obeys you so alive, so the stars were made to worship, so will I. If the mountains bow in reverence, so will I. If the oceans roar your greatness, so will I. For if everything exists to lift you high, so will I. If the wind goes where you send it, so will I. If the rocks cry out in silence, so will I. If the sum of all our praises still falls shy, we'll sing again 100 billion times. God of salvation, you chased down my heart through all of my failures and pride. On a hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness to die. And as you speak, 100 billion failures disappear. Where you lost your life so I could find it here. If you left the grave behind you, so will I. I can see your heart in everything you've done. Every part designed in a work of art called love. If you gladly chose surrender, so will I. I can see your heart in a billion different ways. Every precious one, a child you died to save. If you gave your life to love them, so will I. Like you would again 100 billion times. But what measure could amount to your desire? You're the one who never leaves the one behind.
Navigating the road of life can be challenging. Increasing demands on our time, strained relationships, and feeling small in the face of injustice. Being a disciple of Jesus Christ can help us not only find a better path, but can transform the rocky road of life. Get your walking shoes on as we join together for The Walk, 5 Essential Practices of the Christian Life.
Hello and welcome to the service of worship here at Haddonfield United Methodist Church. I am very grateful for worshiping with you in our on-demand service today. If you are looking for a community to worship or grow in your faith, please let us know you are here with us by using our online connected card. We launched a new worship platform on our website at haddonfieldemc.org, so I invite you to check it out. You can watch this service or any other online service on our new worship platform and find worship resources you might need during the worship. Fall is one of my favorite seasons because it's so beautiful. It's change of colors and wonderful weather. And I am very excited about our trunk or treat, the community outreach event, to share the joy of this season. We will host a trunk or treat and fall festival on October 29th, and we invite you to be partnering with us in its preparation. There are many ways you can help us out. The Amazon wish list is available with a QR code on the screen, so you can just order and let the items deliver to the church directly. Or you can drop off candies at the Welcome Center. But the candies should be individually wrapped and not free candies. And all other information is found at haddonfieldumc.org/now. And I want to express my deep gratitude to everyone for sharing their lives and their gifts and resources for God's mission in our community in many ways. And especially, I want to express my deep gratitude to all the volunteers for the thrift treasure rummage sale that happened during the week. And I invite you to share your resources with us through your giving as an act of worship. Your giving, small or big, comes with your big heart for God, and it is essential as we continue to do ministry. So please consider giving today as a form of worship by using haddonfieldemc.org/give or text the word give to the number on the screen. So before we invite Pastor Chris for the proclamation of the word, would you please join your heart with mine in prayer? Loving and gracious God, we give you thanks for who you are and whose we are. You have been so good to us in our challenging seasons and joyful seasons. We bring our best heart before you in our worship. As we listen to the word prepared for us today, open our hearts and mind and inspire us through your Spirit and give us courage to step forward in loving you and loving others. We pray in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
It's September. Kids are going back to school. But after 2 years of a pandemic, we've all learned something about hardship. By now, everyone has heard of post-traumatic stress. But have you heard of post-traumatic growth? It is now understood that people can experience significant personal and spiritual growth after experiencing a crisis or hardship. Be ready to take notes as together we explore when crisis takes us back to school.
I don't know about you, but to me, it feels like everybody's been moving lately, or at least looking for a place to move to. In the pandemic, it seems that folks are relocating and searching for houses. You know, I think there are a couple things that give that sense. Is one, the real estate market has been on fire for the last couple years. It's slowing down now, but it does feel like there's such a high demand for houses. And the other thing is that I just know a lot of people who have moved. People finally who are downsizing or moving to other states. I have family members who have relocated from Pennsylvania down to Florida. I just know so many people who have moved. What about you? Have you bought, sold a house, relocated? You know, the reality is, I looked this up expecting statistics on increased rate of people moving. And the reality is that the move rate is lower than normal, lower than pre-pandemic rates. The reason it just feels like people are moving and looking at houses is because there are natural patterns of migration that are somewhat unique to the pandemic, particularly people moving out of highly populated areas, densely populated cities and states, moving out of New York, moving out of states like New Jersey, top of the list, California, Illinois. And they're moving to sunnier places, warmer places, almost vacation destinations. Do you know the most popular place that folks have moved, that with the highest rate of people moving in? I wouldn't have guessed it. Ocala, Florida. The second most popular destination, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Number 3, Sarasota, Florida. 4, Greenville, South Carolina. And 5, Asheville, North Carolina. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't mind on most days relocating to where it's sunny year-round, but we don't all have the luxury of getting to work from home and move to Florida or North Carolina or wherever it may be. Most of us have been forced to reckon with our spaces in the pandemic. And I've had that experience, and I trust that you have, that when we were forced to shelter in place, especially the first year of the pandemic in 2020, we couldn't go anywhere and forced to reckon with our spaces, our homes, the stuff that we have, and the people that we live with. And myself, the first week of the pandemic, we quickly learned in my house that the first floor just wasn't going to work for everybody. I had 2 girls on Google Classroom and Google Meet all day long with their classes. My wife was doing Zoom appointments on her computer, and I was on the phone and on Zoom, and we just were interfering with each other. So we kind of scattered to the various places of the house, and I went to the 3rd floor where I already had a room with a desk in it and some guitars and other stuff. When I got there to move into my home office, I quickly realized that I had for quite some time deferred cleaning up that space until later, right? I had boxes that had not been yet unpacked from our move 5 years prior. I had a desk that had just piled up with papers and books and all kinds of things. And I had guitars that were not in their cases or out of their cases, or it was kind of a mess. And so I was forced to make it workable. And over the last 2 years, I would say, I love my home office. I actually prefer to work there. It is an incredibly creative, functional, and useful space. It took a new rug and some time to set things up and to clean my desk. And now I have all the technology to Zoom, to write, to record. I can pray, I can meditate, meet with people, take calls, whatever I need to. It just took a little love in that space because, well, it had been neglected. Did you have an experience like that in the pandemic where you realized that some of your space or things had been neglected? This experience taught me, like many lessons in the pandemic, that we often defer caring for, loving, and settling into our own space for 3 reasons. One is because we're too busy. Well, I've got too much going on. I don't have time for that right now. The second reason is just like it, is we decide that we're going to do it later, that we choose to do other things and we defer it for later. And the third is that we often can focus on what we don't have. Oh, well, I'm not going to clean that up. I'm going to wait till I can buy a new desk. I'm not going to refurbish that porch till I can afford to build the deck that I want. Oh, I'm not going to take care of that house because we're going to move in another year or 2. The book of Ecclesiastes talks a lot about our stuff and how we can search after stuff or take care of it. And I want to read to you from Ecclesiastes 5, verses 10 through 20. The lover of money will not be satisfied with money, nor the lover of wealth with gain. This also is vanity. When goods increase, those who eat them increase, and what gain has their owner but to see them with his eyes? Sweet is the sleep of laborers, whether they eat little or much, but the surfeit of the rich will not let them sleep. There is a grievous ill that I have seen under the sun. Riches were kept by their owners to their hurt, and those riches were lost in a bad venture. Though they are parents of children, they have nothing in their hands. As they came from their mother's womb, so shall they go again. Naked as they came, they shall take nothing for their toil, which they may carry away with their hands. This also is a grievous ill. Just as they came, so shall they go. And what gain do they have from toiling for the wind? Besides, all their day they eat in darkness, in much vexation and sickness and resentment. This is what I have seen to be good. It is fitting to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the toil with which one toils under the sun, the few days of the life that God gives us. For this is our lot. Likewise, to all whom God gives wealth and possessions, and whom he enables to enjoy them and to accept their lot and find enjoyment in their toil. This is the gift of God. For they will scarcely brood over the days of their lives, because God keeps them occupied with the joy of their hearts. I love this line that opens that passage. The lover of money will not be satisfied with money, nor the lover of wealth with gain. This is the third reason I said that we often defer taking care of what we have, because we usually can want for what we don't have. We may love our stuff, but we always need more stuff, new stuff. Not only, according to Kohelet, or the teacher in Ecclesiastes, not only will people who chase material goods not be satisfied, but the more stuff we have, the more stress and sleepless nights we'll have. This sounds a lot like something that Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 6. He says, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consume, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." So Jesus too says that if we are worrying about protecting our stuff or chasing stuff, we will not be satisfied, but invest where we don't have to worry about those things. Ecclesiastes uses this term, this phrase, "Sweet is the sleep of laborers, whether they eat little or much, for the surfeit of the rich will not let them sleep." Satisfaction, according to Kohelet, the teacher, comes in meaningful work. It doesn't come in getting what we want. It comes in working with what we have, in labor, finding fulfillment and investing in the moment in what you have. I've heard it said many, many times that the millennial generation and the generation after Generation Z don't want stuff as much as previous generations. They want experiences. And Ecclesiastes says that the experience of being fulfilled in what you do cannot be taken from you. Your stuff can be taken from you, but not the sweetness of labor and toil. He gives us another conclusion, that satisfaction comes in our meaningful work here. We find fulfillment in investing in the moment, in what we have. And when we work, we're investing in our gifts, our bodies, our relationships, our talents, our possibilities. We're not focusing on what we don't have. We're not waiting passively, but we're doing something with the moment, with what we have. That's why work is fulfilling. At the end of this passage, he gives us his assessment. Remember, he's at the end of his life and at the end of his career and power. And he's saying, this is what I have seen. This is what I've learned in my life. It is fitting to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the toil with which one toils under the sun, the few days of life that God gives us. For this, he says, is our lot. This is what God has given us to do, not to accrue, but to care for and use what we have. I see this as all about stewardship. Stewardship is, what do you do with what you have? Here we are to cherish the things in our lives, our space, our things, our people, our work, and do these things. Enjoy what we have. Live now in the moment, not tomorrow and not yesterday. To celebrate life as we go. Use the gifts we have and put them to work. Love, cherish, and nurture the people that we have. You know, for me, this all ties in again with Jesus' teachings. Jesus would have known this book of Ecclesiastes. Jesus is a rabbi and a teacher of the Hebrew Scriptures. And the kingdom of heaven that Jesus constantly talked about was the here and now. It wasn't the out there or back there or up there. He said the kingdom of hand is at hand. It is now and not yet fully brought to us. And so the kingdom of heaven is us caring for what is here. And what is here? God is here. God is with us. God is factory installed in us. Each of us are born with God's image and imprint and presence. And so the greatest command, love the Lord your God. It's what do we have? And Jesus always says, love your neighbor as yourself, that great command. It's also about what we have. Our neighbor is not who we want. Our neighbor is who happens to be next to us, live over there beside us, or in front of us. It is not about the perfect person. It is about the person who has been entrusted into our lives. Jesus tells the parable of the Good Samaritan, probably his best known parable, in response to a question, what is the most important law in Scripture? And Jesus says, love God, love your neighbor as yourself. And then the Pharisee shoots back, yes, but who is my neighbor? Right? Implying that my neighbor is the person in my clan, my tribe, my family. Jesus tells a story about a man who's beaten up, laying on the side of the ground, and people avoid him, and then a foreigner cares for him. And Jesus says, who was the neighbor? The neighbor is the one who happens to be in front of us. And so the question is, what are we doing with what we have? And in this case, who we have, the people around us in our lives. Esther Perel, who is a relationship guru, TED Talk speaker. I've heard her on a number of podcasts, including one called 10% Happier. She says that the quality of your life ultimately depends on the quality of your relationships, which are basically a reflection of your sense of decency, your ability to think of others, and your generosity. Most often we think happiness is found in our success, our job, and what we do, but she says our happiness is 100% contingent upon the quality of our relationships. The old saying goes, it's not about getting what you want, it's about wanting what you've got. And so our job in stewardship to the things and the people in our lives is to love what we have and who we have, not what and who we want. It's in the small movements and how we interact, how we take care of people, how we check in on people, how we are grateful for the people and the blessings in our lives. And here's this great question. What did you do with what you have in your life? Jesus told another parable in his ministry about talents, about 3 people who were given money to invest. 2 of them doubled their investment and 1 didn't. And the one who didn't double the investment didn't do anything with it because it wasn't enough. And so he probably said to himself, yeah, I'm going to wait till I get what I want and then I'll start to work for it. And those who doubled their investment were rewarded. And Jesus says to us, the one who has and has been faithful will be faithful in much, will be given more. And I believe that question, we will be held to account. What have we done with what we have? Not, oh, well, I don't like what I have. I don't like the people in my life. I don't like my house. I don't like the resources I have. I'm waiting for something better. What are we doing with what we have? Ecclesiastes says, I've found that there's nothing better to enjoy what you have and to love God and to be present. I believe that this is all about this principle. Loving what we have now will give birth to what we need. Loving what we have now will give birth to what we need. If we don't have what we want, if we don't have what we think we need, don't defer maintenance. Don't defer love and defer care. Love what, whom, and where you have now. And ultimately, it will give birth to God caring for your every need. This is one of the final lessons that I wanted to reflect on that comes in crisis. That the pandemic taught us that when we defer caring for people, we one time will realize that we have neglected that which we had an opportunity to love and care. And I don't want to forget this lesson. I don't want to forget my little third floor office. I want to love it. I want to make it an amazing space, and I don't want to defer the people in my lives. I don't want to wait to cherish my relationships. This has been one of the best lessons in the pandemic. What have you learned in the pandemic? Write it down and ask God to help you not to forget it, but to help you to be healthier and to love God more deeply and to love your neighbor and what has been entrusted to you, so that we may be faithful stewards of what God has given us in this little life in all the days that we have it. Friends, I am grateful that you have joined us for our online only service. And I encourage you to go to haddonfieldumc.org/now. You can find our sermon notes, our Connect guides, and I hope to see you again in person or virtually. May you be blessed by God's love, grace, and peace. Take care.
I know you're gonna see me through it. If anybody can, you can do it. Gotta know in the trial, in the pain, fire, in the rain, you're gonna see me through it. You're gonna see me through it. If anybody can, you can do it. And whenever my hope goes away, you save the day, you're gonna see me through it. Yeah, 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 I know you're gonna see me through it.